So, it's UFC Fight Night, Strickland versus Hernandez, and I, King Hit MMA, will be discussing the picks and odds for the card. But before we get started, the Instagram is live, so, you know, give that a follow. You come from the Instagram to the YouTube, give it a subscribe, and yeah, let's get right into it. For the first fight of the card, sorry, bit fluey. I don't know why I'm so monotone. For the first fight on the card, we have Juliana Miller versus Carly Judice. Bro, just look at their records, man. This is what we're starting off with, and obviously that's how it should start off with. Juliana Miller, she isn't really anything special. I think she's lost her last two fights, if I'm not wrong. Apparently not. She beat Petrovic by decision, and then she's lost twice before. She hasn't been super active, while Carly Judice, she's knocked out both her last opponents. And I really do favour finishes. So I'm going to go Carly Judice by another finish. Carly Judice is $1.11 and Juliana Miller is $6.70. So biggest favourite on the card. For the next fight, we have Jordan Levitt versus Yada DeValle. Yada DeValle is undefeated prospect who sadly isn't going to get the credit for his last fight, since it was there was some real strange betting lines coming in on it. He's versus Jordan Levitt, the Monkey King, basically. He's a very win-loss fighter. He can beat the bums of the division, but when his two losses were to Chase Hooper and Paddy Pimblett, real high level grapplers. But he isn't that bad of a fighter. I think he does have some real skills, Jordan Levitt. But I think Yada DeValle, I think he is a future top 20 guy. So, and he is a grappler. He's a heavy grappler. Real good submissions. So I think I'm going to choose Yada DeValle by submission. I don't know how Jordan Levitt gets subbed. Anyway, Yada DeValle is $1.22 and Jordan Levitt is $4.25. So yeah, that's that fight. And for the next fight, we have Phil Rowe versus Jean-Paul Lebenoy. Phil Rowe, he hasn't performed really at all. He lost to Sang KO and Jake Matthews, which ain't too bad of losses. And he knocked out Angelusa, but mind you, Angelusa was piecing him up. Oh, can't see the names. Yeah, Angelusa was piecing him up, and he did gas out. While Jean-Paul Lebenosi, he's been pretty impressive on the regional scene. And also he's, I think, 10 years younger than Phil Rowe. I'm going to say Phil Lebenosi by decision or TKO. Yeah, that's my pick. So we've got, not Phil, Jean Paul. Jean Paul is $1.40 and Phil Rowe is $2.70. So yeah, that's my choices for this fight. And for the next fight, we have Paulie Soriano versus Ramiz Brahimaj. This is a real hard fight to choose. This is probably the first fight that's a proper even fight. Both these guys are on a 3-fight win streak. But it's really dependent on who you favour, the wins over who they've beaten. So, for example, Soriano, he beat Veretenikov, he's okay. Uros Medic, he's actually really good. He's actually pretty good. Uros Medic, he's a middle in the welterweight division. And Bazer's kind of trash, but when you listen when you're losing to Dustin Stolfus, that's not that great. Um, yeah, but for Ms. Brahimi, his list of wins aren't as impressive, but he's finished his last three where Paulo Serrano has struggled in some of the like the Vitenikov fight. He struggled. This is a pretty hard fight to choose. I'm gonna go Brahimi by finish. I just think finishing his opponents has been real impressive. Billy Ray Goff, not that impressive. Vanderford is a half decent fighter, so yeah. The odds are $1.85 to Ramiz Brahimi and Soriano is $2. So yeah. On to the next. So we're getting for the next fight. We're getting a rematch we really didn't need. We're getting Leon Edwards of the bantamweight division versus Nora Coronoli. I can't really remember this rematch because I just don't remember it, honestly. I've seen Jocelyn Edwards. She's looked better in the last couple, while Coronelli, she's been a bit win-loss. Losing to Cal Rosa isn't terrible, and Calvacanti's okay. She beat Edwards. She beat Edwards in their last fight, but for Jocelyn Edwards, she's finished her last three fights, which, like I said, I do value finishes. I do value finishes a lot more than decisions in the women's welterweight bantamweight division. And Priscilla Cachoeira, she always brings a tough fight. That was her last fight. Chelsea Chandler's actually proven she's half decent. So I'm going to go Jocelyn Edwards by decision, maybe even a finish, like a KO. So she'll win the rematch. Jocelyn Edwards is $1.30 and Nora Coronoli is $3.60. So yeah, that's the odds for this one. And for the next fight, I'm going to be honest, I have no clue who these two are. If we look at their topology, last three fights, so Coria, he beat Alessandro Costa. Alessandro Costa's kind of, he's alright. Actually, Alessandro Costa ain't too bad. He's pretty good. Alden Coria is a pretty tall flyweight too. Has a few more fights over Lewis Gurul. Lewis Gurul, he hasn't won a fight yet in the UFC. You know, he's lost to Odi Osborne and Jesus Aguilera. Those are two really good guys. But I think just losing like back to back and to an up and comer like Eldon Coria, I don't think he's going to be able to beat him. So I think Coria will win by decision. Coria is $1.30 and Lewis Gurul is $3.50. So yeah, that's the odds for that. Speaking of Odi Osborne's last opponents, we have Odi Osborne versus Albi Idris. Odi Osborne's a very strange fighter, but he had a good outing against Steve Ersegi's last fight. But he goes life and death with all these opponents. Like, he has won one fight in his last 4 fights. Mind you, it's Asu Amabayev and Bruno Rodrigo, but like, he's basically lost to. He hasn't really. He won a fight against Gurul, but Gurul's the bottom of flyweight, and Idris Eba lost to Joseph Morales, but Joseph Morales is super impressive, and he was undefeated before that. I think Odie's just on the way out, so I think Albi Idris is going to win by a decision, smudge decision. I haven't seen Idris fight, but Odie's just never really impressed me, so yeah. Idris is $1.73 while Odie Osborne is $2.11. And for the next fight, we have Chidi Njokuani versus Carlos Leal. these two are very middle, like they're middle of welterweight once again, probably on the more downside. Cheating Nakajuani, he was actually on a decent streak before he met Jake Matthews. Um, like it's not a bad loss to Jake Matthews. He knocked out Aleski dos Santos. Like Aleski dos Santos does pull a win out every now and then. Jared Gooden, not a great win either, but that's whatever. And Carlos Liao, he's kind of just he kind of sucks for welterweight. Honestly, like the only guy he's beaten is Alex Moreno. Mind you, his only two losses in the UFC are Ribnat Fakradinov and Muslim Salikov, who are two really good rated welterweights. I think I'm gonna go Chidi Nekajawani. I just think just because he had like a slip up against Jake Matthews, I think he's gonna come back into form. I think, and plus he's 6'3", so that striking's really gonna come into play. So yeah, I think Chidi Nekajawani by decision. So yeah, that'll be good. He's $2.10 and Carlos Leo's $1.70. So yeah, that's alright. And for the next fight, we have Zachary Reese with Michelle Pereira. I don't know it's not loading up for some reason. But yeah. This ain't loading up. What the hell? We can refresh this page. Anyway, I'll just talk about the fight. We'll just talk about the fight as if they're on the thing. The thing about Zachary Reese is he's such a, like, he always looks like he's losing, and then he always looks like he's losing, you know what I mean? Like, and sorry, it's just annoying the shit out of me. I hate when it does this, especially mid video. That's the worst. We'll get back to it. Yeah, we're back to it. Nope, we're not back to it. Okay, now we're back to it. So yeah, like Zachary Reese, he's a strange fighter. There's a lot of times where he should have lost the fights he was fighting, but like he was getting pieced up by Jackson McVeigh, who ain't that good. Dasko Todorovic sucks, and Beklev. Beklev is actually half decent. But yeah, he's on a he's more wins than losses. But for Michelle Pereira, like just a year ago, he was like top 15 in the middleweight division, and he's just fucking fallen off a cliff basically, which is insane. Mind you, like all the people he's losing to, Alexander Hernandez, Abus Magomedov, and Kyle Dorcas, are all kind of the top 20 of that division in the middleweight. So it is kind of hard to rate those wins. Although Kyle Dorcas got cut from the UFC. I think Michelle Pereira, he's just, if you can last a minute from Michelle Pereira, you should be fine. I think Zachary Reese is going to finish Michelle Pereira. So yeah, I think Zachary Reese is going to be a top 20 fighter. He's going to be like kind of a Iron Turtle sort of fighter. He's going to be in that top 20, but maybe never hit the actual rankings. So yeah, I'm choosing Zachary Reese by submission. Zachary Reese is $2.30 and Michelle Pereira is $1.60. So yeah, that's sick. And for the next fight, we have Jacob Smith versus Josiah Harrell. I think Josiah Harrell is, if I'm not wrong, a debutant. He's undefeated wrestler, D1 wrestler, or D2 wrestler. Really good. Jacoby Smith, everyone's been like hyping him up. He's only had 2 fights in the UFC. I don't know how I feel about him going life and death with Nico Price in the first round. That's just my honest opinion. Jacoby Smith's got decent wrestling, but I really want to see how he goes against Josiah Harrell. This is really a fence-sitting fight because not a lot of people don't know who Josiah Harrell is. He's a really good wrestler. This is a really hard fight to choose. So, I reckon I'm going to take a risky pick. I'm going to choose Josiah Harrell by smudge decision. I think he's going to expose Jacoby Smith because I think his wrestling is just going to go so far. You know what I mean? He's not winning against the best, and I think I've seen a lot from Josiah Harrell on the regional scene. So yeah, that's my pick. Jacoby Smith $1.33 and Josiah Harrell $3.34. Mind you, Josiah Harrell is doing this on short notice. So yeah, that's alright. And for the next fight, we have Anti-Delija versus Sergey Spivak. Jesus, the odds are fucking... What are the odds saying? Sergey Spivak, he's been just so he's just so... When he's off, he's off. And when he's on, he's on. He's just, these are blob heavyweights. I'm just going to get straight to the point, and I think, honestly, Anti-Delicia's just shown 10 times more already with 2 fights in the UFC than what Sergey Spivak has basically in his last 5 fights. I think Anti-Delicia is just going to be quicker, faster, and be able to shuck off the takedown attempts of Spivak. So I'm going to go Anti-Delicia by a first or second round knockout. I think Sergey Spivak just doesn't have it anymore. So yeah, Anti-Delicia is $1.71 and Sergey Spivak is $2.20. I think this is my tip. Because Anti-Delicia had a half decent fight against Waldo Cortez Acosta before the eye poke, so yeah. Yeah, anyway, that's my pick for that one. And for the next one, we have Milky Costa versus Dan Ige. Probably said that the wrong way around. Bro, this is a... I'm not fence-sitting this one at all. Dan Ige, his last win was Sean Woodson. He was losing that fight against Sean Woodson as well. He's only lost to the best of the best. If you look at his last 4 fights, it was Patricio Pitbull, which that's a very whatever loss. It's a pretty bad loss. Lerone Murphy, top of the division. Diego Lopez, top of the division. But he did that on short notice too. While Milky Costa is on a 5 fight win streak. His only loss in the last couple of years is Steve Garcia, who's super impressive. And I think I got to go with the up-and-comer. While Dan Ige is on the way out, Milky Costa is ready to jump into the rankings. I think, and after that last win over Sherrier, I think Milky Costa might get Dan Ige out of there. So I'm going to go a round 2 submission for Milky Costa. Milky Costa's $1.40 and Dan Ige is $2.80. I think Dan Ige has just been this gatekeeper all this time. I really think it's his a lot of featherweights moving out, and so all these new contenders are going to come in. So yeah, that's my thing about this fight. Now let's go on some weird placement. Jeff Neal versus Uros Medic. I don't really understand why Jeff Neal is fighting this far down. I know Uros Medic is a name, but to be fair, Uros Medic hasn't looked like the biggest world beater, you know what I mean? He knocked out Muslim Saikov and Gilbert Urbina. Gilbert Urbina is not that great. And yeah, Muslim Saikov win's pretty good, but Gilbert Urbina is not the greatest win. I think it's real hard to compare and hard to judge this fight because I can't just say that Jeff Neal is cooked because Jeff Neal went to war with Shavkat. Should have won that Ian Gary fight. I thought, knocked out Rafael dos Anjos, and then got knocked out by Carlos Prates. But all the guys he's losing to are the best of the best of the best of welterweight. So, in saying that, I think Jeff Neal is going to win this fight. I don't think he's totally cooked yet. I think he's better than Uros Medic. I'm going to say Jeff Neal by a TKO or decision. Jeff Neal's $1.50 while Uros Medic is $2.80. So, yeah, that's my decision. And finally, for the main event, I'll talk a bit more about this fight. Sean Strickland versus Fluffy Hernandez. If we go over their last wins, losses, whatever. Fluffy's on an 8-fight undefeated streak, if I'm not wrong. Yep, so from Rodolfo Vieira to Roman Dolidze. Now, Roman Dolidze sounds terrible. So we'll just go off... basically the Brendan Allen fight. That's probably the most impressive win. But in saying that, his last 3 wins, 2 of those people I don't rate that highly, even though they are ranked. Michel Pereira was ranked number 15, and Roman Dolidze, he's always been overrated. But the Brendan Allen win is super impressive. He did nearly get finished in that fight, and there's a lot of worrying things with Anthony Hernandez. While Sean Strickland, he's just showed a lot more. Example, I thought he won that first DDP fight. He took control over, Adesanya. He beat the shit out of a Bus, beat the shit out of a Costa. And then, he kind of went shit his last fight against Duplessis. I think that just Strickland his head wasn't in the game. I think his grappling defense is really underrated. And if Anthony Hernandez can't get Strickland down, it's going to be such a rough night for Hernandez. He's going to get teeped and jabbed the whole night. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think Strickland is going to, stuff the takedowns. And we're going to see a TKO from... Actually, I'll say a TKO from Strickland in the 3rd or 4th round. So, yeah. I'm choosing Sean Strickland. He's $3.35 and Anthony Hernandez is $1.30, which is crazy odds. That shouldn't even be that fucking far apart. But listen, I felt like I've been a bit slack with the videos lately, especially the picks and odds one. I didn't do a fights to make after the Mario Batista one. I just get busy. But yeah, man, look, this has been pretty good fun to make. I always love making these. It's a little late at night. Yeah, so overall the whole card's it's pretty good. It's stacked in the right places. I think it's a good 7 out of 10. It's a fight night. It's what you expect. Great main event, decent fights in the card. And listen, I think I'm gonna get this pretty right this week. I think this is gonna be a certified banger. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you all later. Thanks. Bye.